Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, here to talk about this weekend's big middleweight showdown between once beaten Andy Lee, an Emmanuel Stewart protege, and unbeaten Craig McEwan, a Freddie Roach protege. Before I go further, let me just say the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. My pick in this fight is the favorite. I like Andy Lee to win it. I am a bit of an Andy Lee skeptic. I understand that he is the Irish assassin. He certainly has the bigger punch in this fight. Andy Lee, as many may remember, was being touted a few years ago as the next big thing in boxing. And then he ran into Brian Vera from the Contender Show and actually got stopped in the seventh round of that fight. Now, let me just make a few points. Both of these middleweights are very big middleweights, right? Andy Lee, I believe, is 6'2". Craig McEwan, I believe, is 6'1". My point to you is to beat Andy Lee, who really is gifted from distance and has many of the typical Emmanuel Stewart fighter traits, right? He can hide behind a good jab. Both of these guys are southpaws. Andy Lee throws a very mean right hand. Andy Lee likes to throw a left hook off the jab. Andy Lee also has, in my opinion, and I understand this is controversial, but he has some flaws that I've seen in other Emmanuel Stewart fighters. In other words, I believe the way to beat Andy Lee is to fight like a prime Ricky Hatton, were they the same size. I understand Hatton fought at light welter and welter, but to beat Andy Lee, you need to be able to fight short, right? Height is not always an asset. You need to be able to get inside on him. And what I've found is it's amazing how many times, if you get inside on an Emmanuel Stewart fighter, that fighter will crack like an egg. Corey Sanders against Vladimir Klitschko. Antonio Margarito against Kermit Cintron. Even Winky Wright against Jermaine Taylor. In all of those fights, the smaller guy was able to get inside on an Emmanuel Stewart fighter. I guess Margarito and Cintron were close to the same size. But once they got inside, the Stewart fighter, who is accustomed to fighting at distance and having a jab dictate spacing and tempo, seems to fall apart. That's what happened to Andy Lee in the seventh round of the Brian Vera fight. I believe a smaller guy who knows how to work his way inside, a guy like, let's say, again, I'm going to name a guy who's from a different division, Timothy Bradley. A guy like that who can come inside and turn the boxing match into more of a wrestling match, I believe could take apart Andy Lee. Unfortunately for Craig McEwan, he's more of a mid-range fighter. He's not an inside fighter. He's a very skilled fighter. I just feel that his style doesn't mesh well with Andy Lee's. In other words, I think what he's going to find is he's not close enough to Andy Lee to smother Andy Lee's power and to smother him like Ricky Hatton smothered Costa Zoo many years ago, or how Andre Ward smothered Alan Green when they fought in the Super 6 tournament, right? So what I believe you're going to find is that Craig McEwan is accustomed to being the taller man in the fight. Because he's greater than 6 feet tall, fighting at 160, I don't think he knows how to fight small. I don't think he knows how to fight like Bradley, like Hatton, like Brian Vera did against Andy Lee. Let me also say this too, in fairness to Andy Lee. If you actually look at the seventh round of the Bryan Vera fight, quite frankly, I thought that stoppage was premature. I'm not here to say that Andy Lee, who was a big favorite going into that fight, wasn't getting cuffed around, but right before the stoppage, it's clear that Andy Lee not only is completely lucid, but Andy Lee actually is throwing punches when the referee steps in and stops that fight. I thought Andy Lee got a raw deal there. Understand that Emmanuel Stewart thinks the world of Andy Lee, and Andy Lee has been promised a title shot at middleweight if he's able to win this fight. I think he does. I think McEwan, excellent fighter, is going to simply find that he's outgunned and doesn't have the power to measure up with Andy Lee. The other thing of note is that this is only a 10-round fight. And so if Andy Lee is able to land big shots, if either of these guys is able to stagger the other guy, get a knockdown, get a 10-8 round, that's going to go a very long way in a fight where you only need 6 rounds to win the fight. I like Andy Lee in this one. I believe he ends Craig McEwan's unbeaten streak. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments for me here on YouTube, on gamblersadvisory.com, and visit us also at predictboxing.blogspot.com. Thanks for watching.